former federal agent and UFO investigator Ben Hansen.
Ben, how are you?
Good. How are you, Bobby?
Doing pretty good. What was your duty as a former federal agent?
What was my duty?
Yeah.
Well, I did a lot of national security and criminal stuff.
You did national security at the same time, or was that different?
No, national security and criminal cases. I had cases in both worlds.
And so you're a federal agent. Do you feel like you know so much more than we even want to know as normal citizens?
Well, we'll talk about the UFO world. That's not what I was working in, but I can say that in general, there's a lot that the government rightly does keep from people, so they don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, because anybody I've ever met that has done some FBI work or any of the federal work, they're like, you don't want to know. Like, we know stuff you don't want to know, and we've tried to fix it so you never have to know it. Would you say that in your job and your career line before you did UFO investigating, that was the case?
Yeah, we have so much to worry about on our plate anyways, right? So it's kind of like if you knew how many terrorist plots were foiled or how many of our adversaries are trying to spy and get information from us, it'd probably be too much to deal with.
Well, how do you become a UFO investigator then? What was that step? You left working for the government to figure out UFOs?
No, I left for various personal reasons, but I was into UFOs well before that. I would say I was 5 years old. Watching the movie E.T. was my favorite, and then I got into X-Files, in high school and everything, and so I was a nerd. I was researching this stuff long before, and it had always been an interest for me.
Well, I'm going to go right to the question then. Do you believe that there are things coming to our planet that we don't know about?
I would give it a percentage, and from what I've seen myself, the people I've talked to, and everything I've experienced, 95%.
95%. 95% what? Like what? That there are aliens, that little people or something foreign coming to our country or coming to our Earth?
Yeah, that we've been visited by entities, people, things from other worlds.
If someone comes up to you and says, hey, I have had a UFO experience, do you tend to believe them initially?
I can't dismiss them. Like as they're telling their story, it's kind of like, how fantastical is it? But because I've had my own experiences and I've talked to people that I do believe have actually had close encounters, I can't just dismiss it.
Ben Hansen is on with us, former federal agent and UFO investigator, and he has, which launched on July 2nd, Roswell, The Final Verdict. And you can watch this on Discovery Plus. So in Roswell, do we think that there's something they're hiding from us? Spaceships, aliens, spacecraft. Do you think there's something in buildings there?
Not anymore. Not down in Roswell, but most people only know this from pop culture. So if you go back and you look at how many people, dozens if not hundreds of witnesses now have come forward, and you put the whole timeline together, we can tell you where the debris was picked up, what flights it went on. We can tell you where the bodies were taken. We can tell you where they were examined, and we can tell you the descriptions of people who didn't compare notes. That these were non-human. It's a very, very compelling case.
I was watching Unsolved Mysteries, and all these people from up in the Northeast that were an hour, 2 hours away from each other, they never talked to each other. They got seemingly, if you believe their story, got abducted and then put back down. And as they share their stories, never having spoke to each other about it, they had the same exact stories. Like when you hear that happen, do you go, okay, I kind of believe this now?
Yeah, you have to look at the patterns, and when you're looking at somebody, okay, so Roswell, for example, a lot of these witnesses were threatened with their lives. They're told that they would be taken to the desert, shot, killed, and so it wasn't until like the 70s and 80s when they realized, well, the government's not doing that to the witnesses, so maybe we can start talking about it. And they have the same stories. They talk about being involved in different parts of the whole cover-up and the descriptions. So you're right. When you add, one person is interesting, 2, 3 is coincidental, but when you have dozens of people with the same patterns, the same descriptions, it's very hard to dismiss.
Okay, being a UFO investigator, and you put the percentage at 95% that we have been visited by something that's not of our Earth here, do you think that they all look the same, or are they different kinds of aliens? Like some of them, have organic matter. Some of them are, I don't know, are they all the same?
No, I've never met one, but I think based on what other people have told me, what I think are the most credible stories, it would seem that we are being visited by multiple races, if you will. Some of them look very human-like, and that's what a lot of people don't realize. Blonde hair, blue eyes, and then others, do fit the gray alien, description. Are they working together? Are they completely different, worlds that they're coming from? That's the question.
So are you telling me that we could possibly have aliens on this planet now that look like humans, and we don't even know they're aliens?
A lot of people believe that.
No, do you? Ben Hansen, do you believe that there could be extraterrestrials but are living as just terrestrials?
I guess I would have to have an open mind and say that is a possibility.
This is very interesting to me. Now, right now, Ben Hansen's on, former federal agent, UFO investigator. Roswell, the final verdict is already out. July 2nd on Discovery Plus. Shock Docs, Alien Invasion Hudson Valley, Monday, August 15th. That's next week. That'll be up on Discovery Plus. What is the difference? What's this show about?
So Hudson Valley is an area where a lot of UFO sightings happened in the 90s, and some people knew about that, but what we didn't know is that this extended all the way to the early 1900s and to today, where it's not just people seeing triangles and discs. It's close encounters, and some of them are actually quite frightening. It's still kind of a rural area, so why this specific area of New York and Connecticut? Is it the people? Is it the region? That's what we explore in the show.
Oh man, does it make you nervous as someone who is searching for UFOs? You feel like it's a probability in your mind. They obviously have extremely the technology is on a different level than we have. Are you nervous about this?
Well, like a lot of people kind of criticize me and saying, well, you're sensationalizing that it's all malevolent, and I'm not at all. I think it would be scary to anybody if you had an encounter like they're describing, and against your will, you're maybe taken from your home and brought aboard someplace, you're examined, you have no control over it. Or if you just look at the military point of view, these craft are making incursions on our airspace, and we have no control. We can't keep them out. We don't know where they're going or where they're from. That is a national security threat. So, yeah, there is a threat level associated to this.
How do we know this isn't like some black ops thing where they're creating military special craft and they're just not sharing with us and they have to get out and go, no, this is not us? Like, are you sure? Like these oceans, like you will see the thing pop over the ocean, gone. It's a weird shape. It's moving in a weird propulsion. It's not gas or fire. Oh, is it in your mind any chance that this is us or Russia or China, like black ops, creating some sort of technology fighter plane here?
That's what makes it complex. What I don't think a lot of people are looking at is it could be both. So when you see these Navy videos of the Tic Tacs and things they're describing, they also have corroborating radar data, and the jet fighters who are chasing these, when they disappear and reappear 60 miles away in less than a second, or go from 75,000 feet down to zero in less than a second, we're talking about capabilities of craft that are traveling over, 24,000 miles an hour. I hope that it's not ours, because if you're saying that, Russia or China is that far ahead of us, that's a really scary thought. But then you have the other half that, a lot of this is described as drones, and they're not exhibiting non-conventional maneuvering. They're just able to chase our Navy ships. They're able to stay in the air for hours. That could be experimental, and so that's kind of convoluted into one thing. It makes it hard.
Do you think whomever is the president knows if there are aliens or not?
A lot of researchers disagree on this. Personally, I think some presidents probably were told. Early on, I think Eisenhower probably had the full picture. Some of them, that were involved, like the CIA director George Bush, probably knew a lot about it. But as you get further on, I think that our elected officials are there for 4 to 8 years. There's really no need to tell them. And you can see the frustration from President Clinton, Obama. The ones who have actually asked, they come back and say, well, they're telling me there's nothing there. I don't know, there might be. How frustrating. You're the president of the United States, and you don't even know if you're getting the full story.
Ben Hansen is on, former federal agent, UFO investigator. I guess in a world of HD, the common question is, why don't we see these? It's like Bigfoot. Like, we always get the grainy stuff. It's something we might think is a hairy dude running in the woods. Why don't we, like, straight up seeing the Tic Tac right on our iPhone or right with some high-capability camera? Why is it so bad visually?
And that is a big criticism that I think is unwarranted, because you don't understand the people that make those comments. They don't understand that you're dealing with systems that are $500,000 of thermal technology, and it's meant to film in black and white. It senses heat, right? And even though your cell phone is highly advanced, you can't even take a video of an airliner a mile away without it being blurry at night. Right, so let alone go try to film something that's flying several thousand miles an hour, and we're just not there with the technology. But it is cool because we can evidence some of it.
All right, 2 shows I want to mention to you guys. Roswell: The Final Verdict, which has been out since July. It's on Discovery Plus. And Shock Docs: Alien Invasion, Hudson Valley, which launches on Monday, August 15th. Here's my final question to you, Ben Hansen, and I mean this in a complimentary way, because as someone who used to be a special agent for the FBI, you're very responsible, you are highly regarded, but do your friends and your contemporaries that you worked with go, dude, did you go crazy now that you're investigating UFOs? Do they ever do that to you?
I get a few emails every so often, but it is complimentary. They think what I'm doing is really awesome. I really have not had any of them say, well, maybe 1 or 2 of them are like, hey, if you wanted to come back, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot, But look at the government in general now finally admitting that they can't explain it. We have an agency being created as we speak to investigate these things. So I'm waiting for that phone call.
All right, final question. If you had to compare an alien to what we've seen on shows, X-Files, Independence Day, Men in Black, what do they mostly look like in your mind? Like, what TV show should we compare them to?
I really loved Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and those little, remember the ending scene where they come out of the craft and they're like kind of like little children? That's kind of mostly what people are describing as the small grays. That's probably the atypical type of alien.
There he is, Ben Hansen. You can watch both the shows, Discovery Plus. One's already up. One comes out Monday, August 15th. Shock Docs: Alien Invasion, Hudson Valley. Hey, Ben, we appreciate you. Good luck on your search, and I hope, personally, that you find nothing. That's what I hope, selfishly. I hope you find absolutely nothing, and I go to sleep at night feeling good about myself.
Well, thanks, Bobby.
All right.
We'll see what happens.
All right, there he is, Ben Hansen. Good to talk to you, Ben.
It's a Bobby Bones Show.